The story of Achungo Children's Center begins with the story of its founder, Michael Nyangi. Michael grew up in extreme poverty in this very rural part of southwest Kenya, and with the financial help of friends and family, was able to complete high school. He moved to Nairobi, about 250 miles away, and found work. An early employer saw Michael's potential and helped him begin to save for college. By 2003, at the age of 22, Michael Nyangi graduated with a CPA for Kenya. He was living in Kibera, one of the world's largest slums, and he noticed a woman sitting by the train tracks one day with her small baby, and worried that she was about to give up on life, he gave her what he had in his pocket, equivalent of about $6. The scene repeated itself some days later, and by the end of the week, Michael saw these two women sitting together. They'd found wood and made a fire. They'd used the money he'd given them to buy corn, and they were selling roasted corn. They had a business, and a light bulb went off for Michael Nyangi that changed his life forever. He quit his dream job in a bank and dedicated himself full-time to providing microfinance that would help women in the slums in Nairobi to start small businesses. And he watched hundreds of women's lives change, many of them moving out of the slum, moving their kids into decent schools. Over the course of several years, this became a 15-person office of microfinance called Lamoro, and the work attracted the attention of NGOs such that Michael was invited to speak before the UN General Assembly in 2008 at the age of 27. And the following year, at an Amnesty International conference in Italy. Meanwhile, as Michael went home to his village 250 miles away on holidays, he noticed small children on the streets, living out of the garbage, and his heart went out to them. So he took them into his home, and he and his mother cared for them. Within a couple of years, by 2005, Michael had a couple dozen kids and decided he needed to give them a decent education, and rented a small shed. A couple of widows saw the work that he was doing and joined him, and Achungo was born. Within a few years, he was renting this 4-room shed and had close to 100 children. In 2006, he was connected with a German school teacher, Armin Opitz, who did fundraising with his children and was able to help build this first permanent building, this brick building. By 2008, Armin had connected with his American sister Barbara, and she engaged her church, Saratoga Federated, to visit Achungo and to put in a well and extend the property that Michael had purchased. By 2010, the school had grown to 130 children. They were in this 4-room shed as well as the permanent building. And the new executive director, Monty Fisher, visited in October 2010. These pictures were from that visit, and this was the welcome reception from the children. The preschool class was 45 kids with this one teacher. All they had was lined paper, and the teacher would hand draw an exercise sheet for them once or twice a day. Otherwise, they're there from 7:30 a.m. to 3:30 in the afternoon, following some rote recitations, and it made for a long day for these 3- and 4-year-olds. All school assemblies were here outside under the shade tree, and all of the classes were in these tin sheds with mud floors that turned to rivers when it rained, which was very frequently. This is the kitchen and cafeteria. It consisted of 3 stones as a fireplace on the ground in this tin shed. And here they are cooking lunch for 130 kids plus staff. This was the only meal of the day for many of these kids. It almost broke my heart when I stepped into this one classroom and this girl graciously offers me her plate. Here's the computer lab. They had a laptop that was donated to them by a tourist from Germany, and sometimes 15 kids would gather around it trying to understand what the teacher was doing and learn a little bit about computers thereby. Though we didn't have any funding, we knew we needed more land. We needed to build a campus of permanent buildings that would get the children out of the mud. In June 2011, we brought out the first team of what became twice annual service trips. And the team came home and began to raise funds from friends and family. And in the fall of 2011, we purchased a new piece of property near the old one and began construction. By the beginning of 2013, a whole new campus was completed, with wonderful classrooms that took the children out of the mud, with this rain catchment system to provide water, windows for air and light. And on our right, we see the early classrooms from kindergarten through third grade. In the middle are the offices, and to the right, a library. To the left, a computer lab, and then in this left wing, the upper classrooms, grades 4 through 8. And the following year, we built boys and girls dorms, so the older children could stay on campus for their studies and not go home in the dark. Now our children had a campus they could be proud of. Well, let's take a closer look inside these buildings. Michael points the way here to the 6 new offices. Here we see his office, this faculty lounge with lots of storage and lots of workspace for these teachers to prepare for their classes. This is the nurse's station. This is the library, filled with books that teams have brought up in their luggage. With this library, the students not only have books they can read at their leisure, but a clean, well-lit place to study. And here's the new computer lab, filled with used laptops from Trinity Primary School in Menlo Park. The children now are gaining computer skills that set them apart from nearly every other primary student in Kenya, as well as providing possible job skills. Here's our new kitchen, a vast improvement over the 3 stones. We instituted breakfast in 2011, and here the girls waiting in line for breakfast are singing, "Take my picture, take my picture." Here we built washing stations because of COVID, and the children are learning to wash. We also replaced this rough metal fence with a whole new cement fence that's lovely. We purchased some additional land here to extend our property, and in part of it put up this playground. We built a 2-story building. As part of our need to reduce the travel of the kids between 2 sites, we brought over the dorm and the kitchen in order for the kids not to have to ever leave this site. Downstairs there, you saw a big classroom and meeting space, and here's the boys' dorm that we brought over from another piece of property. We're very proud of the quality of the classroom experience at Achungo and the love and respect that the teachers show these children. Here, Madam Christine holds her own baby as she leads the older preschool class, young 5s if you will, in a recitation. When the students answer a question, the teachers lead the whole class in congratulating them. This is Mr. Eric and his 2nd grade class. Let's listen in. Here's what the classrooms look like now that we have tile down to protect the floors. Let's drop in on Madam Diana and the early preschool class. These are the 3- and 4-year-olds. She has them out of their seats more often than not. They're singing and dancing their numbers and letters. It just seems like an awful lot of fun. Time to congratulate this student. The children now have a lot of stuff to play with. Over the years, in our luggage, we've brought board books, Duplos, puzzles, coloring books and crayons, different things for these children. These are all things they'd never seen before, let alone had a chance to play with. And it has transformed their classroom experience. In 2016, after extensive discussion on both continents, we began building an entirely new campus in a new area about 25 minutes away to address a new community of orphans and destitute with a new primary school, and to provide them with the superlative educational experience that is unique to Achungo. By September 2016, we had 60 students in the first 3 classes, 2 preschool classes and the kindergarten. We completed the school in 2018 and now have over 300 students from preschool through 8th grade. and we're very proud of their performance. And here is the school's kitchen upgrade. In order to provide some income for the schools, as well as to provide vocational skills for the students at a demonstrational farm that shows projects of greater income potential than the typical farms in the area, and also to augment the school diets, we've begun a farm. We have 3 milk cows, about 200 chickens, soon to be close to 600, and we've been growing crops as well, maize as well as feed crops for the animals. The farm has been self-funding for several years now and contributes to the costs of running the schools, as well as continuing to augment the food program. We also began to build a middle school at our other campus because of new government requirements. This is a new classroom with its new desks. Here's an administration building in construction. Here's new dorms because all of these 7th, 8th, and 9th graders will be living on campus. So we've got these large dorms to accommodate them, and we built showers for them. Probably something they'd never seen before. This is teacher housing so that the teachers can stay on campus rather than travel the long distance to get home. And on a piece of property, we've put some garden in. Every Friday and every Sunday, the students and staff get together for a worship service with teaching and with music worship.